Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And today we have the January 2022 content preview. So, this is basically the equivalent of the community stream. They're just flowing it in as content for us. And they do have info on the next community stream. A lot of the stuff in here is stuff that we were expecting, but the cool thing is there are little tidbits about the 4th anniversary. So I thought I would make a video on it because I know a lot of you are curious what's going to be dropping for 4th anniversary. So we got a few little inklings here, and then info on when the next community stream will be, which will be when they actually will highlight the 4th anniversary, which I am really, really hyped for, right? So basically, some of the things they've added in are quality of life improvements. So the big thing is they are renewing the cycle quest. They typically do this anytime they introduce a new crystal tier. So what it is the former high shards or the high clusters, you can see there at the bottom. Those are now farmable. Previously, they were only available from quests as rewards. They are now farmable because they are introducing a new crystal tier. So we'll talk about that. This thing's cool. Some of these, I don't know if JP got this. And you guys can let me know in the comments if JP has all this. But a lot of this I've never heard of before. But I don't follow JP super close, right? And these might be things that are small enough that nobody would have brought it up in a YouTube video. So if you're a JP player, let me know if they have these. But these sound kind of cool. So now on the crystal screen, it actually will display like all of the crystals you have. And for a color, it'll tell you like how far away you are from actually being able to fully awaken a unit. So like if you're short some units, you can kind of see here, I can't really zoom in on it, but in the bottom right, there's like text in red. And it basically says you're this many short or something like that, right? So that's very, very cool, right? So yeah, you're going to be able to see the number of currently held crystals, which crystals are obtainable from Cycle Quest, and how many are needed to raise an ally's crystal strength. This is useful because traditionally, like if I needed to run Crystal Quest, whether it was, typically it's like I'm spamming for a summon board and I need to like do X number of quests with a character, I typically will spam Crystal Quest. And I always want to know like which crystals do I need, and I'd have to go into the separate menu, look at my crystals, and then come back and actually do the runs. Now you can see what you have right from that window, which is really, really nice. So I think that's gonna be helpful for that. This one here I think is really interesting, and I think this is good for like newer players or like players that don't watch like a lot of YouTubers and stuff, because like I could see this game, like if you're someone that just picks up the game casually, right, and plays the game, and like you don't do any research, you don't look online, you don't watch YouTube videos, you don't go to Dissidia info, whatever, you don't research bosses, like this game could actually be quite difficult. And so they're doing something, I feel like this is a really nice add-on for say like more casual players. What it's going to do is for the Lufenia fights, it's actually going to give you a little strategy page and give you tips for how to defeat the fight, which I think is really good. And then they're even going to give you a recommended party. Now obviously, this is going to be a marketing scheme because they're probably going to recommend the current banner characters, but it'll give you some insight as to like ideas of how to run the quest, right? Which I think is something useful. Because I feel like that's kind of one of the complaints with DFFOO is that like they don't always make all the info very accessible. Like there's so many say nuances to how the bosses run and nuances to characters' kits that they don't really explain very well, which is why we have to like research online, and we use the YouTube community and our Discord communities that help us like fully understand that. So one thing is they're getting better at it, and I think this is a good step in the right direction, right? All right, this is the big one, the level 90 Crystal Awakening. So for those of you not familiar with it, this is a huge deal. Normally this is like the biggest buff characters get from a Crystal Awakening probably in the history of the game. This is a huge buff that they're getting. So the big thing with this is that when you get their crystal to level 90, their EX gets a ridiculously huge buff, and their AA, their active ability, gets a huge buff. And the reason why this is significant is because EXs now become relevant and do a lot of damage. So Noel, for example, we talk about as being the next big damage dealer. Well, his attack that is his million press button is actually his EX. And you might say, well, if it's his EX, how is he as good as Machina? Because Machina can spam the 1 mils every turn. Well, Noel does break, re-break, free turn, and then with his BT effect of, it like recharges his EX automatically. So he can spam his EX basically when he's in BT mode. So, or like when his BT buff is up, it allows him to spam his BT effect very often. His EX, I should say. And his EX is his million damage button. So I think one of the reasons they made Noel's EX so powerful is they really wanted to showcase it and say, hey, EXs are extremely relevant again. Here's the prime example, right? So here they show the mighty shards. So these are kind of the different looking shards. These ones will not be farmable. They will only be available from quest rewards and things like that. I'm guessing they're going to be pretty generous with these early on because we don't have a buildup of them. If it's anything like Crystal level 80, they gave us enough to basically max out every character as they came out, if you did every event and every quest. So I think it's going to be the same here, where you're going to be able to max these guys out fairly quickly. Yep, they're the new tiers. They're explaining us basically the same thing. All right, and then this little section here talks about what I just talked about. They're basically emphasizing that when you get their crystal strength to 85, that's going to be their EX buff, and when you get it to 88, that's their AA buff. So that's a really big thing there. The other big thing we're getting is Ultima weapons, okay? Ultima weapons, for those of you that don't understand, if you ever play Final Fantasy Record Keeper, they kind of have a similar system. I think they're called artifacts in Record Keeper, but they're basically like uber powerful weapons that can be used on any character that uses that weapon type. So for example, if you're a sword user, Lightning could use it, and Warrior of Light could use it. Like two characters that use swords can use the same one, and you can pass it between characters. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say with this is that Ultima weapons, they're not something you summon for. You actually craft them, but don't worry, they have a sneaky way of getting your money with Ultima weapons, which I don't think you really need to fall into. We'll talk about it, but Ultima weapons definitely are not going to be required moving forward. Basically, we're going into C90, which is like garbage time. Like, with the C90 buffs you're getting, if you have a big roster, you're just going to be getting these instant buffs to your like LDs you already have. C90 alone without Ultima weapons does just fine. You're not going to be able to spam and create a lot of ultimate weapons, but don't stress about it, because once again, they're not needed. They're really just about like taking your ridiculously busted team and making it even more busted when it isn't necessary. So that's the first thing I'm going to say, is do not stress about getting Ultima weapons, okay? Now, what they're trying to sell you on here is that in order, basically you craft them, and you use these things called Providence cores. I believe to craft your first copy of a weapon, it's 50 Providence cores. Each copy after that, though, I think is 150. It costs more, but your first copy of a weapon only costs one. And because the weapon can be shared, my recommendation is as you're casting these, I would make one copy of each weapon before you make dupes. Because the only time you're going to need dupes is if you're running two of the same weapon type on the same team, which you usually don't have to do. And like I said, the power creep's so crazy, like you're not going to need two Ultima weapons on your team anyways. So if you have to run like, two Ultima weapons and somebody with a BT plus, oh no, it's not like it's going to be that hard, right? So don't worry about that. The big disclaimer I want to say here is, let's say since Noel's banner's dropping, right? And you decide to make your first Ultima weapon a weapon for Noel, do not sell his BT plus. Like if you green him, like don't sell it, because later on down the road, Noel's going to get power crept, and you're going to want to maybe have that sword be held by somebody else. You always want to have the option to like swap the weapons around. So don't make an Ultima weapon and say, this is just for Noel and nobody else, so I'm going to sell his BT. Like, don't do that. Always keep so my recommendation is always keep the character's natural best weapon. So if they're an LD character, keep their purple EX plus. If they're a BT character, keep their BT, even if they're equipping an Ultima weapon. Okay, that's just my recommendation to you. Because once again, you don't want to lock a character into an Ultima weapon, because it's like, oh, I've got Sarah LD, but I really like her, so I'm going to buy the bow Ultima weapon, and I'm going to give it to her. So I'm going to sell off her purple EX weapon that I don't need anymore. Well, later on down the road, another character like Lena's going to get her C90, or Rosa's going to get her C90, and you might want to give her the Ultima bow. Well, now it's going to be locked to your Sarah because you don't have the EX to equip her with. So hopefully that makes sense. So just don't sell off the character's natural best weapon. That's just my recommendation, okay? So the way you're going to get Providence cores, they're going to give us 50 on login. So right away, you're going to be able to just make a Providence or an Ultima weapon, right? So that's kind of cool. But the thing is you do have to limit break them to max them out. So to limit break them, you need to use more Providence cores. Now, something they're adding to help you earn more Providence cores is Ultima missions. In order to attempt these Ultima missions, you have to have tier 5 done in Dimensions and Entropy. So if you're someone that you have a built roster and you have the capability of beating it, but you just haven't done it yet, now's a good time. It's a good motivator to get you in there and try to do that, right? They are permanent, so don't stress about getting those Ultima questions done. And what it is in order to get the rewards, you have to use C90 characters in it, and you have to get them through. Now, it says here that they are Lufenia quests. It does not say Lufenia Plus. So I think it's going to be more like a challenge quest. So for example, I'm not planning to draw for Sid, who's one of the C90 characters right now. I'm hoping that if I have 2 other C90s that are fully built, I can maybe push through an EX only Sid, for example. We'll see how hard these quests are, but I think the C90, I think EX only characters actually can be kind of relevant now, because the EXs will still get buffed even if you don't have the LD. So we're going to kind of test that out, but I don't think they're going to be crazy hard. Now, here's where Squex is trying to get your money, and this is what I don't want you to fall into, okay? So up until now, we've had the regular Moogle Pass and the Premium Moogle Pass. The Premium Moogle Pass doesn't really add much. It just gives you like BT and EX tokens are the option to get those, which is nice. And then you get more gems on purchase, right? But otherwise, most people, I think, are content with the cheapy little $5 Moogle Pass. That's what I've been using every month, right? Well, now they're trying to push you up to Premium Moogle Pass. So what they're saying is if you have Premium Moogle Pass, you're going to get extra Providence cores, which is going to allow you to craft Ultima weapons faster. So what I don't want you to fall into, and this is why I was stressing about how Ultima weapons are not necessary, there's no rush to get them, is don't feel pressure like you need to buy the Premium Pass to get extra cores to craft them faster, because you are going to curb stomp the game without Ultima weapons. We're in C90 right now. This is going to be one of the easier times in the game to beat hard content. So don't stress about it. That being said, if you're someone that doesn't mind spending money on the game and you like the idea of getting extra rewards for fun to build them faster, that's totally fine, as long as you understand why you're doing it. But don't do it under pressure to feel like in order to beat hard content you need them, because you don't. Okay, so I just want to stress that right now. Okay, so level 90 awakenings. So our first 4 here: Noel, Sarah, Sid, and Onion Knight. I'm not going to talk about like should you pull and stuff right now. We're just talking about this. I'm sure you guys have heard plenty about that. We're just going to go through the info here. Okay, so once again, when you log in, you're going to get 50 Providence cores, and then there's going to be Chocobo missions. So in panel missions, they are going to give you more Providence cores, which is good. They're going to do a really updated, or they're updating the daily hunts where they're just putting like the cactuar in there, the flower cactuar as the skin. Doesn't really change anything. This thing I think is really insane here. I love this. So any of you that have ever wanted to grind all of your crystals to like max, I've never done it before, but I kind of wanted to. This is the time to do it. For the first time ever that I remember in Global Default, they are doing triple rates on the Cycle Quest. I don't think they've ever done it. So if you're a new player, this is a great time for you, because you're going to be able to grind these out quick. So triple rates, and they're selling triple books again. So if you do triple rates with triple books, like you're going to go crazy on these crystals. You're going to be able to get so many of them. So I think this is great. Great time to farm crystals. Carbuncle's Treasure is going to be open again. It's almost, they might as well just make it permanent at this point, because basically they bring it out for an event and it just rolls right into the next one. So I don't even know why they make this special anymore. They might as well just make it permanent. And yeah, triple item sale, like I said. They're going to have special bundles, and it looks like they are selling more BT bundles if you're interested in that. And then World of Illusions Divine Ifrit. This is very good for people that are low on resources. I know I need to recoup a few. So I think after completing this will put me up to like 700 tickets, which is great. And I'm going to be around 300k gems, which is awesome. So you're going to get 40k gems and 400 tickets from this, which is very good. The following characters there: Onion Knight, Edward, Celis, Sid, Sarah, and Noel. They are going to be like the mega boosted synergy for this. So those characters, you're going to want to have them in your party. If at all possible, you want to run all 3 in your party to get the boosted points. Noel's BT is dropping. Onion Knight's going to return with his BT. Reworks for Noel and Onion Knight, and then Sid and Sarah. Costume for Noel. And then 4th anniversary. Okay, so now we're past the stuff we kind of knew was coming. Although, like I said, some of those quality of life things, I don't know if those are global first or not, because we have gotten global first quality of life. But 4th anniversary countdown. So this is hype, guys. So the countdown is going till January 31st. And so what they're going to do in the countdown is they're going to give us a daily login bonus. And part of that is going to be Providence cores. So you guys want to make sure, starting on the 17th through the end of the month, try to make sure you're logging in every day for those Providence cores. There's going to be a special daily mission for more gems and Providence cores, which is fantastic. I think these are bonus Providence cores. I don't know if JP got these, because these are tied to anniversary. So I don't know. JP maybe got them during their anniversary, but this is great because we're getting it on launch of Ultima weapons. So we're going to kind of like speed up our crafting on that, right? Then there's going to be a countdown campaign co-op event. So there's going to be a special co-op for the campaign that'll have Chaos, Lufenia, and Lufenia Plus quests. And this is new, like it's anniversary, so I don't know if it's from another event, or I think it's gonna be something completely new. Well, unless it's like tied to like Queen Lost Chapter or something, which they're showing here. So we got Queen Lost Chapter coming up on the 20th. That's going to have, I believe, Cater's LD as well, which is very cool. New character here. Don't remember the character's name, but they have wings and they do stuff, so you can look them up. I remember they're a character that some people are pretty hyped for, but once again, in this era, nobody's like a must pull, so I can't give you a lot of info on the character. We'll leave it as a shadow Pokemon for now, okay? But yeah, the winged character, I remember seeing JP when they came out, but don't remember which character that is off the top of my head right now. But they're dropping with their LD. And then the big thing is we're getting the live stream on the 30th. Now keep in mind, the countdown campaign goes till the 31st. So I think literally it's going to be live stream, and then literally within the next day, we could see the new banners. Because I guarantee during the live stream, they're going to probably drop whatever it is. While we're theorizing here, and that's basically it right there. I'm just going to throw out a theory here. I think what is most likely, I know people are hoping for like a Global First BT or something. I think it's going to be a new character. I think that to me makes the most sense. You wouldn't have to drop it with a BT cycle. It could be an LD only character with a C90. And my top two choices, I know this is really cliche, but I really want Riku from Final Fantasy X. I feel like it's like absolutely criminal she's not in the game yet. I feel like the reason they've held on to her so long is because I think people, they know that she's a hype character at this point. Her assets have been in the game, I think, almost since launch, which is crazy, and they've never done anything with her. I think if they're going to drop her, it's going to be something hype like an anniversary, so I think she's a good chance. And then I'm also a big fan of Red 13, so I would love to see Red 13 in the game. But to me, a character like Riku would be hype enough. And if you guys remember last year, they actually did 2 global firsts. We got Balthier first, and then kind of like as a super secret, they dropped Vincent after, right? So why not give us both? I don't know. So your guess is as good as mine, but that's going to be my guess is we're going to get Riku or Red 13. That's my hope. But I think my concrete guess is I think it's more likely we're getting a new character than like a time travel BT or something like that. So you guys let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.